And we should be live.
Hello, world.
Hello. But yeah, Boston, you should prioritize lock and key.
Yeah, I think I have like the first collection. Let me fire up Comixology. Try and give some people a minute here to get on Twitch.
Yeah, Why doesn't this?
Log in.
How am I not following our Twitch channel?
What's going on over there?
No, I am following. Okay, Twitch is just being dumb. Okay.
Lock and key.
Yeah, that series is outstandingly good. Like I really enjoyed Horns quite a bit, but I think now, granted, I've only read Horns and Lock and Key, but so far, Lock and Key's his best work to me.
Oh, I didn't put two and two together that he had worked on that.
Oh yeah.
Add to wish list. Yeah, I thought maybe I have it on Kindle.
It's a definitive series too, so I mean it ends on top of that.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like Comixology has like the two collections.
Perfect. I wonder if that's the whole series. I think there were originally 4 or 5 trade paperbacks on it or something.
This description is in German.
Oh.
Well,
that's great.
Let's see what they have. Yeah, all Comixology has is 2 collections, which both seem to be in German.
Huh. That sounds
what about
wrong.
this other Lock and Key? That has 6 collections.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's the one. I have the first one of that, the English one.
Okay.
Unsurprisingly.
Well, and that's also enough to read to really decide on whether you want to follow it through or not.
Yeah. Oh wow, Comixology has DRM free backups now. As a PDF or a CBZ.
Dude.
Wow. Alright.
It's the first appealing thing they've done since Amazon bought them.
Oh, I'm still so angry. I was spending so much money on comic books until I couldn't buy them in the app anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They were always saying like, "Oh, it's so much easier to use the website on iPads now." No, it's not. I have an iPad Mini. It's slow.
Yeah. I hate that.
Yeah.
You got to leave the app. You got to go in, hope that it still recognizes you as logged in.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to browse and immediately start reading. It just really defeated the whole purpose of reading comics on your app.
Well, and the thing that got me is like I'd start a new series, and at the end of the first issue, it'd be like, "You want to read the next one?" And it's like, "Sure." I mean, let's keep this train rolling here.
Man. Yeah, I barely use Comixology anymore.
Yeah.
The Marvel app I still use, which is ironic because I think that's powered by Comixology.
I believe it is, yeah.
Still buy stuff in there.
All right. You guys ready to start this show?
I am definitely ready.
All right.
I don't know if you guys are ready for my games.
Totally ready. All right. You ready, Musim?
I am.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love for October 2014. I'm your host, Boston. Going round the room, we have Musim.
Hello.
And Mina.
Hi.
The 3 M's. That's... didn't know my real first name. It's on the website. All right, without further ado, let's get right into it. Musim, what have you been enjoying this past month?
So I'm going to start with what has completely taken over my life the past week, and that is Wasteland 2.
Oh.
The hard part about talking about Wasteland 2 is I feel like I'm in a Saints Row 3 situation where, like, if you think back to when Saints Row 3 came out, no one had, Saints Row 2 wasn't all that popular.
Yeah.
And to get people sold on it, you had to tell jokes, and you told a couple jokes from it, and you thought, oh, that sounds crazy, but that's it. And then the person said, no, there's a lot more, and then tells you more jokes until you believe them. And then you play the game, and they have essentially told you 90% of the game.
Oh, yeah. It's like the trailer for a comedy movie where it's like, oh, that was all the funny parts. Great.
Yeah. Except, it was done through podcasts, so you got hours of it. Wasteland 2 is just an amazing and outstanding game. From the reviews I read on it, a lot of the reviewers got really glitchy copies. I've been playing on PC. I have probably pumped somewhere between 15 to 20 hours into it.
Wow.
And I've maybe crashed 2 or 3 times, and that may have just been because my computer's pretty freaking janky for some reason.
Yeah.
Just this last build I did over the last 2 years just has not been stable. But Wasteland 2 is essentially they took, the writing of Fallout New Vegas and gave it the combat of XCOM.
Yeah. And like the interface, I watched a little bit of Giant Bomb's Quick Look, and I think the thing that really struck me at the beginning was, and this is probably, for most people listening to the show, this is probably a good touchstone, is basically Fallout 1. Like it has the same interface, it has a very similar skill assignment system. Obviously it's a Wasteland game, so it's not Fallout, but if you've played Fallout 1, Fallout 2, you kind of know what you're getting into at a surface level. Yeah.
It's I guess story-wise it starts out you're in Arizona, the whole US is a nuclear wasteland. And you're kind of trapped in this one section of Arizona behind all these radiation clouds. You're part of the Desert Rangers. The Desert Rangers were essentially I can't remember. They're like a group of scientists or policemen or something, or militia that took up in a prison for a while when basically the apocalypse happened. And then they moved out and have been trying to police the area, but haven't been doing a very good job because they don't have too many people working for them. The game starts out with kind of a murder mystery where Ranger Ace has been murdered, and you have to go figure out what killed him. And you get up there and you find a dead robot, which is way more sophisticated technology-wise than anything anyone's ever seen. And the kind of mystery goes on from there. But like the whole area, like you don't have to follow the story. You can just start walking. Essentially, like the way you traverse the game is you have an overhead map. Like I think the best comparison would be like a Shin Megami Tensei game where you have your little marker on the map that moves around the streets. Except this one, you aren't restricted by street movement. As you run into things, they kind of pop up as 3-dimensional objects on the map, and then you can enter in a more traditional kind of XCOM style map, but you move around regularly until you enter combat, and then it puts you in a grid-based system. Man, I'm trying to think. Like, I want to give away some of the really funny stuff I found in this game, and I'm not sure if I should or not.
Well, at the very least, we could talk about the very last skill in the skill assignment thing, which is toaster repairman.
Yes.
Yeah, which sounds like one of those things that maybe your 4th or 5th playthrough, you just specialize in that, and you find something super crazy and way overpowered for fixing 5 toasters.
There's at least one toaster in every area.
They went all the way with it. I can respect that.
Yeah. Like you can't this. Like the skill system in the game, I think will be probably a little intimidating at first to some people. Mm-hmm. Starting out, kind of my advice is make everyone use a different type of weapon. Particularly a different type of weapon that uses a different type of ammo, because ammo is scarce, but it gives you like 2 to 3 bullets of each type most combat scenarios. So if you do that, then you'll be a lot better. Like my intention when I made my party, it lets you make 4 characters. I made a charismatic dude that really wasn't any good at fighting. Just gave him a bunch of talking skills. And gave him a real high charisma stat. I made a woman who, like, you can make your little avatars short or tall. And I made her as massive as it would let me, and she's my muscle. And gave her shotguns and clubs, I think.
Nice.
I made they had this picture of, like, it looks almost like an Asian chick in like a nurse garb with like a needle and a gun or something like that.
Okay.
And I decided
Some Guilty Gear stuff happening here.
yeah, I decided I would just make like a 16-year-old genius doctor chick out of that. Which is kind of the road I went with it. And then I made a thief chick. The issue I'm running into is your intelligence stat determines how many skill points you receive upon level up.
Oh.
You only get to increase, like, you have attributes and then you have skills. Your attributes, you only get one attribute point, it looks like, per 10 levels.
Okay.
So, like, I gave, like, for instance, my shotgun club lady, I gave her a 1 intelligence. I like the idea of a mentally challenged, large woman that was my muscle and could talk to animals.
Oh, yeah. Naturally.
There's an animal talking skill in this. So.
A gentle giant, really.
But the problem is she doesn't really get any, she gets like 3 skill points per level, whereas my 16-year-old doctor gets like 7 or something because I maxed out her intelligence. But it's still, well, I still wish I had more skill points for the other characters. It's still, I'm keeping up well enough. You should just, like, it's, the thing is you really just want to concentrate on one skill tree at a time. You want to have your one character who really is just about shooting people, and then your other character who is about safe cracking and maybe lock picking. And even doing those 2 trees at once will be difficult. But there are things to lock pick and safe crack in every single area. Demolitions is another indispensable skill because there are traps everywhere, and all of them so far have required demolitions to disarm. The game does a really good job on making you need all your skills, but it also gives you a bunch of NPCs. Right now I have 3 NPCs in my party. Actually, 4 if you count my quote-unquote pet.
So do you have like 8 or 9 people in your group now?
Right now I have 8, including my pet. So, and my pet doesn't seem to do anything. I was trying to read up on it online. Okay, I'm going to spoil something that's probably minor. I went to this facility in the game that was behind a huge rad cloud. And after hacking through a bunch of areas, I found this giant glass prison cell with a little green guy in the middle of it. And he was titled Night Terror. So I did what any sane person would do. I hacked all the turrets around him that were shooting me, and then hacked his cell door, and then he declared me his best friend and is always asking for candy, which appears to be any type of meat, but the first kind of candy I gave him was a human heart I'd found in the facility, and he got really excited about that.
I feel like it's one of those things where, like, 20 hours from now, he's going to transform into some horrible hulking beast and kill your party.
Yeah,
He's
probably.
done it. He's got a taste for humans.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
too late. It's too late. He's been in my party for hours now, so
Oh,
no
man.
going back.
Done it now.
It is what it is. But like I'm trying to think of what else about this. The landscape they gave the game is really interesting because you have your desert rangers, which are, I mean, they're just police guys in the desert. You have 2 tribes. Like, one of the quests I did was I went to the Rail Nomad camp, which consisted of Atkinsons and I forgot what the other tribe was called. But basically they were 2 tribes that they were very like Native American like themed, but they worshipped John Henry, but not like John Henry the legend, but it was obviously supposed to be a reference to John Henry the legend, but it was actually a real guy that I guess started these tribes.
Oh, weird.
And one of them drives the trains and one of them works on the trains, but they've been feuding for like their entire lifetime. So the train, basically everything's just blown up now. And you gotta kind of interact with them. The one tribe, like their leader lost his arm, so he makes all of his soldiers cut off their arm.
Man,
It's part of their warrior rights.
that's always the crazy thing about those old CRPGs is I feel like the writers spend so much time kind of crafting these different groups and these different like these different bands of people in the world, and I feel like a lot of times now I feel like a lot of that is missing, that background, the crazy stuff, like the stuff you see in Fallout, with the different numbered vaults in the modern ones. I feel like we're missing that in a lot of RPGs now, so it's kind of nice to see that it's keeping up that classic CRPG where it's like, yeah, this is a group of people that all have one arm because of their leader dude. He lost his arm. It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's every area has some new bit of craziness. There are shrines throughout the world that will give you, excuse me, like a skill point, and they're all crazy looking. Like, like one of them was a giant TV.
Awesome.
Like a monolithic TV. Man, what else should I say about this game? I guess I probably should have mentioned when I started talking about it. I am a Kickstarter backer on the game, so I'm sure that gives me some sort of bias. But so far, so far this game is larger than any other Kickstarter game I've backed. I wouldn't say it's the size of an Elder Scrolls game, but I would say it is. It's in league somewhere with that.
So my question for you is, I know a lot of people, probably all three of us included, really hold in high esteem Fallout 1 and 2. And I feel like those two games, especially the first one, are probably a little bit impenetrable nowadays, especially like, oh, I'm playing Fallout 1. Oh, look, a scorpion. Oh, wait, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Do you think that Wasteland 2 would be a good entry point for someone who's looking at getting into this kind of classic CRPG style, or would you recommend maybe something more of an intro like XCOM Enemy Unknown or something like that?
Well, I guess I have two answers. The short answer is yes, I think it would be good. I started the game on easy. I have never gotten a party wipeout. When your character, I don't know if the enemy can outright kill your characters at first, because they've only knocked one of my characters down and my medic immediately healed them, so they were fighting again.
Okay.
The trickiest part is going to be picking the right skills, and I think if you just go into it with the sense that not everyone in your party is going to be a badass.
Yeah.
And this game is not entirely about combat, although there is plenty of combat in it. Just, give everyone a different weapon skill. Make one person your doctor. Make one person your lockpicker. Give someone a mechanical skill.
Yeah, you have to remember that it's not like modern games where everybody can do everything. You really have to specialize, and you really have to kind of balance your party.
Yeah, to a pretty big extreme.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I got it, I was really, I ordered a hard copy version, and they still haven't shipped those out. And I was really hoping I'd get a big, thick manual to read through beforehand, because this feels like a game that would benefit from that.
Have like a spiral-bound manual.
Yeah, but it's, I will say this, I don't know that it's going to, if they ever move it to consoles, I don't know that it's going to translate well.
Yeah.
It's very mouse and keyboard centric. I think a lot of the moving around would be fine and the combat would be fine, but I think the inventory management is where consoles will die.
Yeah, unless they really redo it to an extreme like Diablo 3 did, and kind of rework the underlying game.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there's certain aspects in it where you can, anytime you go to a shop guy, you can click sell all junk.
Yeah.
And all the non-story items and just stuff you can't do anything with will immediately, be sold. So that's very good. But
Yeah.
you're still going to find, like on easy, I found just a huge amount of guns. And generally what you do with guns is either you sell them or you use your weaponsmithing skill. I can't remember what it's called. But you can use that to break them down into mods for your guns.
Oh, cool.
The weapon mods are actually super, super, super cool. I would actually recommend getting into that as soon as you can, and don't really worry about whether you will get that mod again or not. You can use your weapon skill to take that mod out and destroy the weapon in the process, or you will more than likely just find another one. And each weapon can break down to a different set of mods, and all the mods are really good. Like one of them will deal with gun jamming, one of them deals with distance and things like that. But I think, like, there are a lot of systems in this game, and it seems complicated, but I think as long as you just go in with the idea of, setting your characters up, not necessarily like worrying about passing a math test or something when you're doing it, but just, just kind of common sense, okay, my thief is going to do lockpicking, safe, and give her maybe like one weapon skill. Try and give maybe 3 skill trees to everyone. Your talker, this is a mistake I made, where if I ever restarted the game, I wouldn't do it again. My talking guy, they have 3 talking skills. They have hard ass, kiss ass, and smart ass.
Okay.
Oh man, I just looked at the chat and I don't remember what I was talking about when they asked me, when Angela I asked me, is her name Lenora?
I think that was for your pet or
Your
something.
heart-eating pet.
Oh, no, that's the I just forgot what it's called. The shadow something.
Goblin thing.
Shadow. Oh well, Night Terror. That's
Yeah,
I was
there
about to say night something.
like, I'm pretty sure the Night Terror is a mutated 11-year-old boy. I could be completely
Oh,
wrong.
that just got even worse.
Pretty sure
It's all
that's
going
what it
downhill.
is. Because he comments like as you're walking around, he's like, "My daddy used to beat me with sticks," and
Oh, Wasteland.
has like a teddy bear and
Wow.
talks about how he loves the Rangers and how excited he is. Like anytime
I'm
combat
totally not
starts,
a vampire.
he's like, "Yay!" He has like 8,000 hit points,
Jeez.
which, like, my guys are like level 15-ish, and they have like 100. The paint picture.
Dang.
Anyway, I think this game is very accessible. It has a ton of profanity in it, though. So if profanity offends you, then don't play it.
Yeah.
But I think this game could probably adapt to tablets pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think tablets work with inventory management pretty well. But like everything in this game is so spot on. The music's spot on. It doesn't have. I mean, ideally, we'd all want the Fallout 3 and 4 radio stations with the old 50s music.
Yeah.
But this is a Kickstarter game. They can't afford that.
Yeah.
I would just recommend turning on iTunes in the background if that's what you want. But I'd highly, highly, highly recommend this game. I think everyone should try and play it. And if you're making a top 10 list this year, I think you should try and play it before the end of the year. I don't think it's going to be my favorite game of the year, but I think it's absolutely going to go in that top 10.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, okay. Angel Eye says that their comment was in reference to Of Mice and Men.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Never seen or read it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm thinking of The Mouse That Roared. I'm thinking of The Mouse That Roared. Well, either way, I haven't experienced any of them. By Wasteland 2. It's really good. I know I probably don't agree with most people most of the time, but I think Wasteland 2 is a common point.
Yeah.
Let's see. I also played another game that I guess turns out to be highly controversial, which is Destiny.
Oh, I've been playing so much of that.
Are we all going to talk about it right now?
I guess so.
Okay.
Sure. Maybe we could start off by saying whether we like it or not. I like it.
I love it.
I like it. I think I think I know why a lot of people are upset, but it could be just my speculation of them having really, really, really high expectations
Yeah.
and not enjoying it for what it is and just expecting
Yeah.
The
something up
second
here,
coming.
and so they're immediately disappointed when it's not 500% beating everything.
Yeah, I
So
think that's been kind of my attitude towards it. I really, really like it. I've played it pretty much nonstop since it's come out. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. I didn't think I'd like the multiplayer as much as I did, and I'm playing that almost exclusively. And I think the thing that is really exciting to me about Destiny is I like the package that's there, and I don't really mind replaying the content that's in there. I'm level 25 now on my character. I don't mind replaying that content as it gets harder and harder. But also the game, like all this stuff isn't in the game yet. They're patching it. They have all those events. The Queen's Emissary event is going on right now. I think it ends when this episode comes out. There's still stuff to go in there that isn't in the two expansion packs. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do. I think I take I think I take an MMO approach to it where it's not really done. There's still stuff to happen in there.
that's kind of what they said in the first place, was that this was going to be an evolving sort of game where it wasn't just going to come out and dust hands until the expansion. It's going to
Yeah.
be a thing that they're going to keep going with, hopefully in many years, is what they were planning on.
Yeah, and I for people at home that don't like it, I'm certainly not calling it a perfect game. It definitely has problems, but I don't think it's a miserable game in any sense of the term. I've been having a lot of fun.
I think a lot of the criticism levied toward it is kind of fair, but I think it all has to do from three things. I think it has to do with the disconnect with the advertising versus what the game actually is.
Yeah.
And I think it also is people, like when I played the alpha and beta and realized that was Earth. We just played through the Earth section.
Yeah, that's what you got.
Like,
5-story
Yeah,
missions.
like at the time, I wouldn't say I was upset, but I was a little disappointed. But once I got over it, and then the game came out, and I'm like, well, yeah, I still really like this game. My
Yeah.
expectations were actually brought in line because I played the alpha and the beta. And I think, and it's weird hearing people who played the alpha and the beta be upset about the final product, because I feel like they should have known.
Yeah, you
but-
got to play a lot of it.
But I don't want to villainize anyone
Sure.
or make them feel stupid or down or anything like that. And it just may be because I'm an overly negative person that I came to that conclusion. But right now I'm at level 27 light. Actually, I think I went down to level 26 because I exchanged my legendary helm for an exotic helm.
Nice.
In the hopes that the exotic helm will wind up having more light on it.
Yeah.
But I haven't gotten it leveled up yet. I really like the game. Like, it plays a lot like Halo. I think the story is super, super weak, but I think the best character moments are with your ghost.
Yeah, and the thing that I think is really a shame is all those grimoire cards that you're picking up throughout the game. If you go on Bungie.net and you sign into your account, there's so much lore in there, and so much of it is written really, really well. And I think it's pretty engaging. I think it's very sci-fi in the way that maybe sometimes there's too many crazy names and crazy terms when you could just be like, hey, this is a computer. But I understand why they didn't do it, but I really wish there was a codex in the game that all this grimoire stuff was in, because I feel like that would help a lot with a lot of the questions and the outstanding sort of story gaps that the game has. But that's a massive undertaking to do that, so I can sort of understand why they didn't do it.
Well, and there's so much weird stuff like that you would expect to actually be a part of the game that isn't. And I have to assume they're going to add it. Like, they're going to add a clan friend list in game. I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to happen.
That's
right?
one of the biggest outstanding things that I think I've seen is the clan stuff missing from in-game. It just seems weird. Like, not that they ran out of time, but maybe certainly other things needed help over that.
Yeah. Well, and something else that was common in the Bungie Halo games was on all the multiplayer stuff. There was a ton of options where you could kind of customize your game.
Yep.
Because you could enable like a lot of the modifiers like that they're doing on the strike missions in the game.
Yeah, the heroic stuff.
Yeah, you could enable like those modifiers in multiplayer matches and do like, hey, we want everyone to start out with rockets or something like, something
rockets
ridiculous
only
like
or
that.
something like that. Yeah.
And I don't know. I kind of expect that stuff to show up, but I don't know because it's like, and I've barely played any MMOs, and the closest I've come is Warframe,
Mm-hmm.
and Warframe's a free-to-play game that introduces like brand new content, levels, frames, weapons every month.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're gonna approach this kind of like a free-to-play model like that, where we're going to get stuff like that, or if it's entirely going to be in these expansions.
Well, I think that's something that Bungie is really going to struggle with, especially with their to understate it, their runaway success with the Halo series, is that I think comparing what Halo is and was to Destiny, excuse me, Destiny is trying to do so many things, and it can be argued whether or not it does all of them really well, but it's trying to do so many things that I think when you look at a Bungie game that has multiplayer, I think the expectation is all this matchmaking, this skill stuff, and all these modifiers, and you carry around a skull and you score stuff. I think that's an expectation. And then when you go over to Destiny, I think they're trying to build almost something like Warframe, where it's the field is a little bit more even. It's a little bit more level between a lot of people. Some people do more damage, some people do a little bit less damage, but it's never really so different from one another. No, one person's not doing 10 damage a shot, the other one's doing 300. It's not like that. But I think Bungie's having a hard time doing it. Looking at their, understandably, they're having a hard time doing it. Trying to explain to people like, look, this isn't Halo, but this isn't World of Warcraft. It's kind of, I've always said it's Phantasy Star Online. And I feel like the more I play it, the more that it kind of fits into the first PSO game. But that's a hard game to sell. Instead of saying, like, it's another first-person shooter from the people that made Halo. But also, it's really online. It's hard to explain because then people say, oh, well, it's like WoW. And it's like, well, no, but it isn't not,
I will say if I never played it with my friends, I probably would hate the game too.
Yeah.
I think it really aids that. I did experience some excellent writing in the game, though. I forgot about this. I got an exotic quest.
I'm doing one of my own right now.
Oh, nice. Which
Yeah.
one did you get?
The one where you get Thorn at the end. I don't
remember which one Thorn is.
A Peaceful Mind, something like that.
Okay. It gave me a list, like 3 options, and I looked up. There was a website online that told you which quests gave you what and what you had to do for them. And I had a friend who said that his exotic bounty required him to get a 25-to-1 kill-death ratio in multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure I never took that quest.
So that one's actually... I was looking that up because I read that and I was like, that is not... What? But I guess it's a 25-to-1 point spread over a number of matches.
Oh,
yeah, so it's not
okay.
that bad, but it sort of misexplains. I'm doing the one for, I think you get Thorn at the end of it, and one of the very last ones you have to do is you have to score 500 points using void weapons in Crucible. And I'm just playing multiplayer all the time. But the hard part that they have trouble explaining is you have to use void damage. So I'm a warlock for my level 25, so everything I do is void damage. Every time you kill an enemy with void damage, you get 5 points. Every time you die, it takes 2 points away.
Ooh.
So like it's this real like I'm up to like almost 200 points out of 500, and I'm like, oh please, I need to get there. Oh, this is so stressful.
Man, yeah.
But it
do
kind
it.
of did a little bit of a hard. I feel like some of that stuff is a little bit too ambiguous. It tells you it's like if it hungers for the light of fallen guardians, but falling. Your light fading takes away something or other. There's like a lore description in it, but it's a little bit. Just tell me like, hey, don't die while you're doing this, because it'll be one step forward, two steps back.
Angel Eye asks, are the exotic quests handed out willy-nilly? No. Every time you turn in a quest, you have a chance to get one.
Yeah.
I read somewhere online that you have to have 3 open spots in your quests to actually receive it, although it doesn't take up 3 spaces. I don't know if that's true, but when I got mine, I had completed 3 bounties. So
yeah, I think I only had 1 slot open when I turned mine in. But yeah, I had the same thing where I turned in a bounty, and the bounty robot was like, hey man, do you want to do one of these 3 missions? And I was like, yep, yes, all right, yay, woo, exotic weapon, I don't have any.
So the one I did is I opted the machine gun because it only had 3 steps, and all
nice.
3 were pretty easy. The first one being the closest to frustrating, which was I had to find a chest on Mars
Oh jeez.
that had the item it wanted me to find, which it would basically, the quest was like, you hear rumors of a talking gun, like, and this is all in text. They don't do any of this voice acted, which on a quest for a talking gun is a little disappointing, but it was still written really well.
Well, and the robot that gives you bounties has such a cool voice. Like, I'd like him to explain some of these exotic bounties.
So you get the gun, and then the gun's like, you know what? I kind of don't know if I want you to use me or not. So how about you prove that you actually like machine guns, and then you have to kill X amount of things with a machine gun.
Oh, nice.
And then the last one is I just blanked out on it. Or maybe the last one was the machine gun one. Maybe the second one was you had to find an ancient battery for it, which involves you talking with a few people around the tower.
Is that called A Voice in the Wilderness?
Maybe?
I'm looking it up here. Oh, it gives you super good advice, that machine gun.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I would have gotten that one, because that machine gun looks super cool.
I like it quite a bit. I can actually get headshots with it all the time,
wow.
which is kind of crazy. But I mean, the hard part is just resisting the temptation of a rocket launcher. But
yeah,
like when you're playing, like especially on like a 3-on-3 team situation, like in multiplayer, like machine guns are way better than rockets most of the time.
Oh yeah, and less likely to blow yourself up, which is what I keep doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of stuff I think to like in Destiny. I like replaying through the missions. It's starting to get a little bit old to me, but now that I've ranked up to Crucible rank 2, and I think I hit Vanguard rank 2 recently, like I don't really feel an urge to max my character out to 30. I just want to get him to 28 so I can regularly do the Nightmare mission each week.
Yeah.
And have my head on fire from it.
Yeah. I think the hard part for me for Destiny is that, for as much as people are complaining about the lack of content, there's a lot to do in that game, and there's a lot to talk about in that game. I mean, we've never even talked about, the new monarchy or future war cult, some of these other factions that are in the game, which sounds like they originally had these long storylines associated with them that maybe got cut out at the last minute, which is kind of a shame. But that game is really big, so I can kind of understand from Bungie's standpoint, like, hey, we need to ship this thing at some point. Maybe this kind of minor thing we can cut out for right now.
Well, and what they've talked about in a lot of their game updates that are weekly, which are actually pretty entertaining to read if you haven't.
Yeah, they're very well written.
Especially this last one on the Cryptarch.
Yeah.
Because they post a lot of the memes with him and talk about having a talk to him about it. But I just went completely blank what I was talking about.
Weekly updates.
Weekly updates. Oh yeah, like they talk each week about how a lot of their effort into the game was seemingly to make the game modular, where they can add to it and adjust it pretty
Yeah.
easily. And so it makes me wonder what else they have in it, because if you think about Bungie's history, like the Halo games, like had a lot of vehicles in it. And the last mission in basically every single Halo game ends in a vehicle mission. And it just
Something's blowing up. Run away.
yeah, pretty much. That's how it went.
Halo.
But they give you kind of your land speeder. What's it called? Your
Sparrow?
Sparrow.
Yeah.
It's a Star Trek land speeder. Let's not.
Yeah, exactly.
But man, I love that thing. But it makes me think that, like, I mean, and you get to choose your own spaceships. Like, are they? It just makes me really want to speculate about what they're going to add in the future to this.
Well,
like,
if you look at each planet's overworld map, there's always these sort of blank spots too that you can tell is an area on the map because they're labeled. It's an area that you just haven't been to. Whether there's going to be a strike there or a raid or even just another sort of area to wander around on the planet's surface, you can. I think you're right. It's very easy to see like areas of the tower that look like there could be stuff over there, or portions of these planets where it's like, oh, I haven't even been over there. Can I? Oh, there's like a locked gate. Maybe there's something on the other side. It seems very like there's plenty of room to grow.
Well, and the Queen's Emissary was the perfect example of that, because they had this whole kind of see-through gate in the tower, and
what's over there?
I know, it's so obvious it's supposed to lead to somewhere. And
Yeah.
Emissary shows up and it's open.
Leads to another dead ghost.
Man, I don't know if I found the dead ghost over there.
Oh, you should get it pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's to the right of the emissary on the back rail.
Okay. Know what I'm doing after this podcast. Man, the dead ghosts are neat to find. I don't know. I really like the game a lot. I like the multiplayer a lot. I've never played a multiplayer game where simply booting up, I'm getting at least a minimum of one, but most of the time 2 to 3 friends asking me to go play with them.
Yeah.
And that in itself, I think, is quite an accomplishment. I've seen very, very little lag or network issues while I've played.
Yeah.
I mean, the game has never crashed on me.
Actually the one thing we haven't talked about is the thing that everybody seems to hate and I like the most out of the game is the lack of voice chat. A lot of people are saying like, oh, let's have proximity voice chat, which is the worst idea. I think Bungie is compromising in a really great way where you can opt in to voice chat for Strikes and Crucible, which I think is really great because you can mute people really easily in that game. And I think opt-in is probably the best way of doing it. But I like being able to go into a strike with 2 other random people and just not have to talk to anybody. And we know what to do, because if you do any of those strikes once, it's pretty straightforward. And just kind of do a strike. Once the boss is down, all 3 of us dance until the countdown is done, and then we go about our way. And I kind of like that.
The dancing is awfully fun to do, especially after you kill the tank if you hop on it real quick.
Oh yeah, I dance a lot in pretty much the only multiplayer mode I play is Control, and if I really want to be a jerk while we're capturing a point, a bunch of us will start dancing. I'm like, yeah, take that,
Nice.
enemies.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm so scatterbrained today. I'm really curious about, because I figure with the expansion in December that they're going to have to, they would have to up the max level, right?
I would figure, yeah.
And so now my question becomes, how are they going to do that? Are they going to up the max light level? Are they going to up the max hard and light level? Like,
I would assume, if I was to guess, seeing how many people are like me that are stuck in that kind of 25 to 27 quagmire, that you'd probably start gaining XP again for base levels, and you would just kind of keep scooting your light level out by one level at a time.
That would be nice.
Because otherwise they'd have to put more gear in that's way better. And I feel like the exotics that are in there right now are so unique and powerful in a really fun way that I feel like if somebody has spent all this time getting an exotic over these last couple weeks, and then it's December, they just drop a bunch of new ones, and it's like, well, these ones I spent 100 hours getting, but those look like crap. Look at these hot new ones. I feel like that might do a little bit of damage to the really hardcore Destiny players.
Yeah. Another thing I really, really like about the game is how it handles multiple characters.
Yeah.
Your storage locker is shared between all three of them.
Yep. That's a very MMO thing, too.
Well, and I wasn't sure to expect it from this, but when I found out that unique engrams will give an item for any class,
yeah,
it suddenly made a lot more sense. I like that whenever you start a new character, and if you have like a level 15 or higher character, then their second subclass is already unlocked.
Yeah, I thought that was a really smart choice.
Yeah, and because I've been playing Hunter. What classes have you guys been doing?
Hunter and Warlock.
Warlock only.
Yeah, I started a Titan recently, and I like the punching.
Yeah, it has a real
the
nasty
Titan.
right hook.
It feels, man, the melee hits in this game feel so freaking good.
Yeah.
Like,
as a Warlock, it's really great to do their like purple zappy thing and have enemies disintegrate.
Yeah, that Warlocks are. You guys are pretty deadly to run into in the multiplayer. Like,
yeah, it feels really good.
I say that all three classes really have devastating multiplayer aspects.
Yeah, like the Hunter with the Blade Dancer skill tree. That is
hard. Okay, up front, that is extremely hard to know when to turn that on because
oh really?
You're like frantically when you pull it off, it's amazing. You feel like a god.
Yeah, you're like dropping 10 people in one area, and it's like ha 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 ha.
But the problem is you lose like a second or two by turning it on.
Yeah.
And you have to identify when you're about to run onto an enemy. So you're just frantically looking at your little radar detection and being like, okay, now, and then you run around the corner, and if they're like 20 feet away, you're like, crap, dash.
Gotta go.
Can I get there in time?
Yeah.
And then they're a Warlock, and they die and come right back to life and then kill you, and that's not cool.
Yeah, I gotta level that, man.
That thing is, my friend Joey, who was on the carousel with me, he has a Warlock, and that's what we do on every strike is that we're playing on, level 22 or higher. He has that equipped, so if the boss kills him, then he'll sit around and wait for me to die and then come back to life.
Yeah.
Get me. But anyway.
Man, I really like that game. I really liked PSO, and I really like Destiny, and I play it for a little bit every day, and I play a bunch of multiplayer, and it's just a blast. In a way that I feel like I can explain, and a lot of people really hate that game for whatever reason, and that's okay.
Well, and I hope they can. My only hope is that people don't hate it enough that. I mean, obviously, it's sold enough money to keep on going, but I hope it maintains enough popularity to keep on going and getting bigger and getting more different types of gameplay in it.
Well, I feel like the 102 patch helped for a lot of people for the consistency of decrypting engrams. I feel like that was a decision that, at least looking at NeoGAF, it pulled a lot of people back in, and it made the base game a lot less frustrating. So it seems like even though Bungie very clearly from their dev notes didn't agree with wanting to make that change, they made the change because it's the best for their community.
Yeah.
So I feel like at least Bungie it feels like they're in it for the long haul.
Well, and I've heard, I think a lot of people also really wanted this game to be another Diablo or Borderlands.
Yeah.
Which I didn't. I mean, a level 6 enemy, I'm level 26, and a level 5 enemy can still kill me if I let him.
Yeah, it's very different.
That is not the case in Borderlands, and I'd seldom play Diablo, but I assume that's not the case there either.
Diablo level scales, so that never really becomes a problem. I mean, a skeleton is still going to be pretty weak either way. But it's never like you're walking into a room full of level 1 dudes sneezing and they all die.
Yeah. Well, and like Diablo and Borderlands, you kill something and it just spews like stuff at you.
Yeah.
And like Destiny doesn't do that at all. So I guess for me they're completely different itches.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm kind of on a break from the heavy loot games like Borderlands and Diablo right now anyway, and because I'm not going to get Borderlands the pre-sequel because I'm so burnt out on Borderlands right now.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I think that's what makes Destiny really interesting, having come off of playing Diablo 3 for pretty much ever since it came out. I feel like every time you get a drop in Diablo, typically they're pretty important. You, of course, get the orange and the green items, and then they're very important. But I feel like in Destiny, when one of those engrams drops, or you get a reward from like a strike or the Crucible or something, it feels a little bit more important because the thing that's going to drop is going to be good, or it's going to be something that you don't have yet. So it seems like it's a little bit more impactful than just like, oh, I killed a dude and like here's 3 green items and 2,000 gold. Which is, I think, to your point, I think that's what makes it different from Diablo 3. It's not really a loot game like Diablo and Borderlands are. It's more like Phantasy Star Online, where you get a smaller number of drops that are much more impactful.
Let me think. I don't think I have anything else to add on Destiny. Mina, you've been awfully quiet on your Destiny experience.
I blame Diablo 3. We'll get into that later.
That's an okay problem to have.
Yeah. Well, my life went from playing Warframe all the time to playing Destiny all the time to playing Wasteland 2 all the time. And when
Wasteland 2 sounds so good, by the way. After you started
yeah.
talking about it, I'm like, I think I need to buy another
I gotta go get that.
It is so good. And it's going to be a long game, and I know that'll turn some people off, but like it is just filled to the brim with stuff, and I don't know where I am, and honestly, I have no idea. Like they have this background story that really just hasn't developed for me, and I don't know if that means I'm not even like a quarter of the way through the game or what. But,
just doing side quests the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I also played a little bit of Warframe this month, but they haven't added any. Like they added the Nyx Prime, which the Nyx is my absolute favorite Warframe, because the Nyx's abilities, like she's arguably one of, if not the most useful frame in the game, aside from maybe Vauban. But Nyx's ability is she has a radius spell that makes all the enemies just attack whatever's closest to them, which is useful no matter what level you're at. Or, you could be level 12 and fighting level 50 enemies and cast that, and you're still doing yourself and your team a huge favor. And her ultimate spell is she basically takes like a meditative floaty stance and gets kind of this invulnerable spear around her and just absorbs damage, and then you press another button and it releases the damage on the immediate vicinity.
Oh, wow.
And just one of my favorite ones, but I haven't gotten around to getting her yet because honestly, I don't think I've played Warframe in about a week and a half now because of these other 2 games, which is fairly insane for me. But now that I'm on this kick, I'm thinking I'm going to wait for update 15, which adds the space combat into it.
Ooh.
So I figure when that comes out, then I will just whole hog get back into it. But until then, I'm just going to take the break and experience the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And that's all I've been playing.
All right, Mina, how about you?
All right, I narrowed down my list from 15 to 10, so we will get started. I only beat one game this month of all the games I played, and it was Danganronpa 2.
Ooh.
And man, this game is just as good as the first one. I am so pleased. I am so pleased because the thing is okay. So if you played Danganronpa, the first one, you would know that their characters are gonna die. You're gonna lose a lot of characters, friends, and you start playing this kind of mind game that I always get into, and I hate myself for it, where I try to figure out what's going to happen next, despite my best efforts not to, because I feel like I ruined the game for myself if I know who did it or who the villain is or blah 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 blah. So my mind's already like trying to like figure stuff out. I was always pretty much behind the curve on everything, so
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty happy about that. That I couldn't put the whole puzzle together. There was always a piece missing, and then I would suddenly get the piece, and it'd be like, okay, I got it. So it's a journey, and I can't really talk about the story because the game is a visual novel with
Yeah.
stuff, so I don't want to spoil it. Man, and even once you beat the game, the game has another one of those additional story modes where you do the peaceful world where nobody ever died or whatever, and you get to see all the scenes with the characters who you may not have gotten to spend time with, while also getting, if you max out their friendship and also max out their heart level in that mode, you get like a special ending with stuff. I love the game. I love Danganronpa 2 as much as I love Danganronpa, and I would recommend the second one to anyone who beats the first one. Do not jump to the second one before playing the first one. You will definitely miss out on some stuff, and the second one will feel way less powerful if you play the second one first.
Yeah.
So, that's Danganronpa 2. The other game that I played was Final Fantasy X-2. I am in Chapter 2 still. I did this was like early of this month, so I'm having to like really reach back there. I was doing the tower calibrations when I finally said I'm done with this. I can't take it anymore.
No longer.
I must have collectively done tower calibrations for 10 hours on that game now. So I think I've done my due diligence on something that doesn't even reward you for getting them all done. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you win, game. You win. I'm going somewhere else. So I did a little more exploring and talking to the characters, making sure I'm getting my 100%. The last thing I did was Klosko wanted to start his Chocobo Ranch in the Calmlands.
Oh,
and
right.
yeah, I cleared out the enemies that were in that cave, and I went on a Chocobo hunting self-given mission where I was running around Spira looking for a chocobo. And why is it that whenever I didn't have the ability to collect a chocobo, that chocobos were everywhere, but when I suddenly had the ability to capture chocobos, it was suddenly like there was no chocobos. I ran around for like 6 hours, not a single chocobo encounter. In fact,
Jeez.
my encounter rate went from something that was like, every 10 steps I get an encounter to like every 50 steps I would get an encounter. It was almost like the game knew what I was doing, and we're like, we're reverse RNGing this, so that way you are no longer having bad RNG, but you're having great RNG, no encounters.
Oh, man.
And I was like, what are you doing?
Why is this happening?
So, once I catch that chocobo, and I think I have like one or two other things, I can then go to the LeBlanc Syndicate and move on to Chapter 3. So I'm right there on Final Fantasy X-2. The other game I picked up was on Steam, Final Fantasy IV.
Oh, yeah.
It is the iOS version, which is the enhanced DS version of the game.
Yeah.
So it has the it doesn't require all that friend code stuff that was in the first one, or the DS one. It's really it's good. I don't see anything wrong with it. There's nothing sticking out to me that says like, oh, don't buy this version. It's just as good as the phone one and the DS version.
You kind of can't go wrong with Final Fantasy IV either.
You
Like
can't.
it's a solid Final Fantasy.
It is really good.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I like how fast the story moves in it.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yes.
Just constantly like, here, I have a new character.
Here's
We're
a new
gonna
guy.
kill off that other
Whoop,
character.
they're dead. Here's another one.
I just got to Edward, I think, and that's where I saved was he gave me his land raft thing.
Oh, right.
Whatever
His
it's
weird
called.
hovercraft thing.
Hover raft, yeah. So like I just got that, so I think I'm on my way to go to the antlion's nest to get the thing that will help Rosa.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part in 4 is what's his name, who wants to cast Meteor but only has 98 MP.
Tella.
Yeah.
Is that his
Yeah.
name?
Yeah.
God, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that they only gave him 98, like not enough MP to actually cast the spell.
Yeah.
The best thing is like as he gains higher levels, his spell list gets smaller and smaller. If you manage to
Yeah.
get him at max level, he still will not have enough MP. He will always have one less than the MP to cast Meteor, but Meteor will be the only spell on his list,
Yeah.
and all of the other spells will be gone.
I forgot that it's the reverse where it takes spells away from him
Yes.
the longer he makes it in the game.
Yes, and you have to use his recall ability, which will do a random spell.
Yeah.
Like he's getting older and he's forgetting his spells, so recall is like, random spell, here it is. So
Man, what a crazy game.
I need to play that again.
Yeah.
yeah. And, I don't know if anybody hasn't played the DS version, but the DS version does something where you get all these little abilities and like random stuff, random abilities that each of the characters can learn. It's so hard to explain how to properly do this. I would recommend, without a doubt, to go to game FAQs. Find that guide that tells you, hey, give this character this one and give this character this
Yeah.
one. Because like if you give certain abilities over to a character, when they leave, they will give you this super awesome ability, and it's kind of just like that. It's kind of like that thing that you just kind of want to have. All the great abilities, and it carries over for the next 2 playthroughs or something like that, and then the 3rd playthrough is the one where you can no longer get the abilities over again. So if you're doing the first time, then the second time, then the third time, you'll have all the abilities from all of those other times, as long as you hand them off properly. Read a guide; it helps you. I would not try to do it without it. So that's Final Fantasy IV. I played Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. It's got Rise.
Yes.
I can play as Rise. Yay!
Yes.
So, I'm really happy with it. I know from a lot of the things that the fighting game community have said about the game is that they have made so many of the characters overpowered or whatever that it's that they hate it or whatever. My view on it is now there's no longer 4 or 5 top tier characters. It's more like you've got about 20 top tier characters, so you just kind of, well, everybody's kind of top tier now. So
Yeah.
like each one of them has something that's super annoying that makes people go like, I hate that character because it's so annoying. But then you look at your character and you're like, my character's got that thing that's really annoying too.
I picked that one up, but man, I still got to go beat the first one. Here, the second one starts where it left off too. So
It does. I don't think it's a spoiler, but they pretty much tell you as soon as you start the story mode, they were like, man, that was a crazy thing that happened 3-4 days ago, and everyone's like, yeah, geez, man, that was so crazy, and you're like, Wow, so the last game was only like 3 days ago?
Yeah,
This is all happening in the span of like 3 days?
that's messed up.
Like, wow, you guys are troopers. But so I'll tell you a little about Rise. What I really like about her. She plays pretty fun. She's got a mic stand that she uses to hit people with. Um,
Of
she
course.
tosses the mic stand. She uses it kind of like, I don't want to call it like a pole, but she kind of like uses like a pole arm and then kicks while she's like holding onto it to like stand.
Man,
So I
that's-
gotta know.
Yeah.
Does she have a move called drop the mic?
She has this really cool move that, and I don't want to call it drop the mic, but if she jumps in the air and she goes to a down smash, she like puts her feet on the stand and smashes it down. It's
Jeez.
really cool. But her attacks, it's so funny. Her throw is, you know how in the animes when the girl kind of falls on the guy or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. She'll do that. She'll get embarrassed and then she'll smack them, and that's her throw. I love it.
Man.
And her other she does like her low attack is blow kisses, so she'll like blow kisses right at their feet or whatever. She's so funny. But
So does this- Did I hear that they added the dog to this game?
Yes, Kanemata and Koromaru are a single entity.
Yeah,
He's
they're
a puppet.
tag team.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
he's a
that
puppet.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
So I love it because a lot of people were talking, like when they announced that Kanemata was coming, everybody's like, well, I know who my training dummy is going to be. And then later they were like, and he comes with Koromaru. And everybody's like, he can't be my
Yeah.
he can't be my training dummy anymore.
Man, poor Ken. Everybody hates poor Ken.
He's so cool now.
Yeah.
He's taller and anyways, Rise's special attack move, her special, not her one, not her instant kill, is DDR, where she locks people down in between like this a bunch of speakers, and they get stuck in this spiral while you DDR. Now you have to press the buttons along to the music that's coming across the screen.
Oh, wow.
Person who is having to deal with this they can't do anything. They just have to sit there and look at you while you DDR.
Oh, man.
And the timer is still going. So you can totally cheese the timer by locking someone in that DDR and then just, time them out on it. It does an atrocious amount of damage too if you're really good at DDR. You end up with like it hits like for 5,000 damage, a solid
Jeez.
bar. Like you'll watch their health go bloop, half gone. One DDR. It's like wow. I gotta love that. So I did some of the story mode. By the way, if you don't own the first one and you're like, man, I gotta buy the first one, you can buy the Persona 4 Arena Ultimax and then buy the DLC that's like, I don't remember how much it is. It's like probably like $10-15. I don't know. And it is the entire story mode from the first one. So you can play
nice.
Yeah, they did that. So you could buy the first one for pretty cheap, and it includes basically the battle mechanics and characters from this one over. So that way you're playing the updated version of the characters and not the arena version for the story. The story mode is really interesting. I don't want to spoil what's going on. If you're kind of a person who's not really into fighting games and you're like, but I really want to experience the story, you can definitely do that because the game has a button to press which enables the AI to play for you and beat the story mode.
Yeah.
And you could just sit there and just watch the entire game play
See,
story.
I need that for the first one because I remember it was. I don't remember which character. I got like 5 or 6 characters in, and I just could not take out that final boss with whatever character I was using at the time.
I wonder if they have. I wonder if like the updated version
I'll have to check that out.
has
It's
that.
Yeah.
because I really need to get back to that and see everyone else's story.
Yeah. It's really good, and I'm enjoying the story. So, but I'm also trying to play the characters. Man, some of them I'm really bad at, and I'm just struggling. But the game also has the golden mode, which is the RPG kind of fighting game portion where you you level up and you can put stat points in for like strength, intelligence, luck, etc., 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 health, and you fight one character after the next, and it carries over your health. I didn't get very far in it, but you also learn abilities, so that way you like. There's some abilities that you can have that starts off the opponent as charmed, or starts the opponent off with, different status effects, or gives you a boost or whatever. Um, I I like it. So, for someone who's not very good at fighting games like me, I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm enjoying it just for the Persona aspect of it. Um, there's more games, I promise. So I also play. I lied. I beat another game. I just remembered. I beat Weapon Shop de Omase,
Oh, yeah.
which is a 3DS game where you play as a blacksmith, and all you do is a crafting mini game where you make weapons all day, and you make weapons for these characters that are going to defeat the big bad, hopefully. So you have to help them level and stuff, and you don't get to see any of it. You just craft, and
Send them on their
you
way.
send them on their way, and you get to hear about their exploits. And you don't really get to see anything besides your weapon shop. Like, you never leave your weapon shop ever. You never leave. The concept of this game is so wacky to me that I don't understand. I ended up beating it today. I bought it a while ago, and I played it a couple of times, but today I actually beat it. Had a pretty somber thing that happened at the end, and the game very clearly tells me, hey, something might happen if you happen to beat this game multiple times. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Using
man.
different characters. Wink, wink. And I'm like,
See you next
I
time.
am not that interested in it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll YouTube you, or maybe I'll just try and play this game every now and then, but I am definitely not marathoning each one of these characters' final stories, because I think there's probably 7 or 8 characters,
Oh,
and I
wow.
beat with 1, so that means I gotta do it again and beat with the 7 others.
That ain't gonna happen.
It's not now. But it's not very complex. The game is pretty simple. The concept of it is really weird to me, so I don't think anything negatively about it. I guess the only thing that would be negative is I don't see too much of a replay value, and the game wants me to replay it.
Yeah.
So there you go. The other game that I played is I don't know if I started Tales of Xillia 2 last month.
I think, but no, I don't think you had.
I think I had just beat Xillia, and
Yeah.
I was going to. I think I just beat it right before the podcast started.
Yeah.
It's probably what happened. So I started Tales of Xillia 2, which starts out with a character unfamiliar to the cast of the first one, and the weirdness that's going on with that character, and they introduce another character who's not related to the cast either, who you kind of take the babysitter role on that character. The game is pretty weird, and the game does. So, like, in most RPGs, there's something blocking your progression. Like, let's say, it could be anything as simple as, like, you have to talk to this NPC, and then suddenly the world opens up more. Or you have to beat this dungeon, and then the world opens a little more.
Talk to the mayor to get access outside the city.
Right.
Yeah.
In this game, a crime is committed, and you are the person blamed for the crime, and you get hurt, and you have a lot of health bills, and you are now kind of on lockdown, and you can't go. Your visa has been taken away from you, and you no longer can travel freely. The guards will prevent you from going forward because, hey, you need to pay up. So the best way to, so the only way you can get your travel restrictions removed is you have to pay off more of your debt.
Crazy.
And there are quests all over that you can do, like kill X amount of these, collect 10 bear pelts.
Oh, weird.
Defeat this boss that's roaming around the land.
MMO quest number 15.
Talk to this character. You know, it's and it's like your rewards are like, oh, here's this amount of gil, here's this amount of gil, and then you pay back the person who you owe all your healthcare money to, and not only that, but whenever you complete a quest and you have a certain amount of pocket change on you, she'll hit you up and she'll be like, yo, you need to pay. I heard you got money, and I know you've got like 20,000 gold in your bank right there burning a hole. You need to pay me 10 right now.
Jeez.
10K. Give it to me.
That game is nuts.
So, like, every time I start, doing, like, quests and stuff, I'll be like, oh, man, look at all my money. I'm going to go and buy better gear and stuff. And as soon as I get out of the menu of, like, getting the quest money, she will pop up and she'll be like, where's my money? And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I was just about to go buy some new equipment. I'm running around in rags here. I need equipment. So, this game is really weird, and that's how it's preventing me to progress, and it's strictly money that's preventing me. It's not oh, you need to complete this quest. It's you don't have enough money to pass this area, and the only way to get more quests worth more money is to go to new areas. So you're constantly in this state of I need money, and I need more quests, and I need. So it's kind of like this cycle of that, and that is
really
what Tales.
Weird.
Yeah, that's what Tales of Xillia 2 is. There's also this isn't too much of a spoiler. It's the beginning of the game. You meet the cat lady, who is this crazy cat lady who apparently owns like 100 some cats.
Jeez.
And you need to go find the cats for her. And when you collect the cats, you can send the cats out on a cat mission to go collect items for you.
Awesome. I need this. I need this game.
So the cats go out and collect items for you, and the time on the cats leaving is actually real time. So it's not actually game time that has to progress. So you can turn off your system and turn it on later, and the cats will have gone on their mission and returned.
Cat business.
Yeah. And they bring back. They're like, "Oh, we found all these rare minerals," and
so it's the Final Fantasy Tactics quest system for cats.
and the more cats you have, the better stuff you find. And sometimes the cats can find other cats. And the cats are sometimes located around the world. You can find them sitting on stuff, or there's sometimes a quest to go locate a cat. This game is weird.
The whole game sounds really crazy.
I'm liking it. I like it a lot more than I was liking Xillia. I think I think one of the faults of Zillia was that they split the story into two pieces,
Yeah.
and I I got pretty bummed out finding out like a lot. I was missing a lot of the story, and being in the dark, and basically knowing in my head I'd have to replay this again. And I am really bad about playing games a second time unless
Yeah.
they're really, really good and worth it. um, I'm probably not going to do it. So, sorry, Zillia 1. Zillia 2 is better. Which is unusual because the Tales games have not usually had the second one be better.
Oh no, definitely not.
So, the other game I played was on the Nintendo DS, Summon Night Twin Age.
Oh.
It is another pretty weird game, and the reason why I got it was because I was told that the game had an emphasis on magic and a lot of the stylus twirling around sort of skills, and I would make firewalls and stuff as the little mage person.
Ooh.
I don't know how to describe this game.
I played Summon Night Swordcraft Story on
Okay.
the Game Boy Advance. I played like 1 and 2 of those. Those were really weird games too, and those were hard to explain. Like, they were dungeon crawlers where you make better weapons, but you're not really using them. The person you bring along with is using them.
Yeah, and you bring along people with you in this too. You can control one of them, but
Yeah.
you can't control the other ones.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, they were really good, but they were kind of... I really, really liked the first 2 of those games. They're probably some of my favorites on the GBA, but I have a hard time explaining why.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a problem explaining this one. It's interesting. It's not bad. It's good, but
They're just so different. They're just... It has a real emphasis, if it's anything like the ones I played, it had a real emphasis on sort of maintaining relationships in the town, and that's not even necessarily like romantic relationships. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go make friends with this guy because he has stuff I need to make better weapons later on in the game, so we'll become friends.
I haven't met any people in the town because the town has vanished or something like that. But
that's a bad time.
yeah, that's a bad time. So there's no town, but the people I'm traveling with, I can like, I guess have like the Mass Effect sort of like conversation with them or something.
Yeah, like
that
some
increases
Dragon
my-
Age conversation stuff.
And I'm not too sure what it's doing yet. But I know that they're getting happier by me conversing with them.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's actually influencing.
I feel like that's the tagline for the Summon Night games, where it's like, I'm doing things, I don't know if it does anything, but I'm having a lot of fun.
Right, I'm having fun with it, but it's very hard to explain.
Yeah.
I do like so the two characters you can control is one is like this magician sort of girl, and she can cast spells. Like if I tap like the stylus, I with a fireball or whatever, it shoots little fireball. I can make a little firewall if I draw with a line.
Is it still a isometric 2D dungeon crawler?
It's a dungeon crawler.
Because the weird thing about the previous ones is they were like these 2D isometric dungeon crawling things where you're going deeper and deeper in this one dungeon. And like every time you'd beat a boss, you'd get a skill that would allow you to skip previous floors faster. But the story kind of didn't really matter. It was really more about, hey, look at this cool thing I built.
I think this one's different in that the story matters and the dungeon seems very... It doesn't seem to change. It doesn't seem to...
I don't think that happened in the previous ones. Like, you're still going through the top floors to get to the bottom.
Right. Oh, this is more like... If we're... Like, the way you're talking would remind me more of, like, Persona 3, and I'm viewing this more like Persona 4, where the dungeon is pretty much the same.
Gotcha.
But there's like a bunch of different little dungeons that I'm going through. Like this dungeon is the beach dungeon, and this dungeon's the castle-y dungeon. This dungeon's the forest dungeon.
Such great, really weird, difficult to explain games.
It is really weird, and I can see how this game would be hard for someone too if you're not careful, because there's a skill tree, and it gets really crazy fast on this skill tree, and you have to divide your points up, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna mess this game up, and there is a limited number of things to kill in this game.
Yeah.
And I am concerned that I may screw myself a little on this one, but
yeah.
So, the last game I'm going to talk about is Diablo 3.
Yes.
And this is the reason why I haven't done anything else that I have planned to do. All right, so like.
Are you playing it on PS4?
I'm playing it on the PC.
Okay.
So I picked up this game like about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I picked it up. And I started with where I'd left off with one level 7. Paragon was like level 22.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 2 days later, I am now Paragon 200.
Whoa.
And I have 4 level 70 characters and 1 level 70 season character.
Wow.
And a lot of equipment.
Oh, man.
And a lot of time spent.
Diablo 3 really sunk its teeth in you.
And yes, we can blame Magnatech over there, because he was like, I'm playing some Diablo 3, and I was like, I kind of feel like I want to play just a little bit. I'm like, I'll play just a little bit, and then a little bit turned into quite a bit, and I can't stop. It's like every time I told myself, I was like, I'm gonna play some Final Fantasy VI today. I swear I'm going to play it today. I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna be a good person and do this. And then I'm like, you know what? Before they do that, I really want to log on to Diablo 3 and see if I can get a better Royal Ring of Grandeur, so that way I can equip it on my Demon Hunter and have a really nice looking ring. And then I'm like,
3 hours later, it's like, oh, it's time for PUP.
Yeah, it's like I'm in the middle of like going through the dungeon, and like I see the call, and like, oh right, that's today. I knew that, but it's this, the improvements they've made on Diablo 3 from what it was when it first came out to what it is right now. It's like night and day.
Yeah.
I can't say it enough, because a lot of people who only experienced like the game when it first came out are still pretty down about it. It kind of reminds me of the same opinion people had of Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
If you look at that game and you look at the game that's come out now, they're two different experiences. You cannot use that first one for what this one is, because this is really good.
Yeah.
I am really happy that they've added a lot of equipment to the game, because funny thing, when you have a loot-based game and you can have lots of really cool looking loot with lots of really cool effects, it makes the game kind of fun.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, having less item sets, less equipment sets, makes the game less fun. So putting more of them is a plus sign.
Yeah.
And
and being able to transmog stuff is super cool.
Transmog is nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Have you ever? I'm sure you have. You've been to like the little Goblin Vault thing.
I've
right?
never gotten one. Because I was playing the PS4 version when they came out on PC, and it's not on the PS4 version.
It's not.
At least not
no. Yet. They need to add that.
Yeah, that sounds super cool.
They need to add that, because the first time I got it, where I was like, oh man, I only have like, I'm all poverty over here with my 900,000 gold, right? You know, I'm like, I really need like just a bit more to buy this thing. And then one of my friends who was with me kills this goblin, and then there's the the portal's still there. And I'm like, did we glitch? And he's like, no, this is payday. I was like, okay. So we go in there. I left that place with 100 million gold.
Wow.
I went
That's
in.
so good.
I went in with less than 1 million and walked out with 100 million gold.
Jeez.
I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do with all this gold?
Buy new Tristram.
I was re-rolling stats on all my equipment. I was like, I have so much money right now. I'm just
Combining
gonna
all
spend
the
it all.
gems.
I still have 90 million right now, and I'm still
Jeez.
burning through it as fast as I can. But yeah, hitting one of those was like hitting the jackpot. Like there was nothing I wasn't gonna buy. I was combining. I was swishing so many gems.
Yeah.
Ah, I have like I think three what do you call them? Flawless royal diamonds now,
Yeah.
and two flawless emerald.
Whew.
Oh gosh. They're so nice because their stat increases are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I've got one of those equipped onto my demon hunter's crossbow. The one of the emeralds, the flawless royal ones.
Man, Diablo 3 is so good.
It is so good. I can't stop playing it. I may need some help. This is me looking for help
This is a
right
cry
now.
for help, and all
Yeah,
the
this
chat is
is-
saying, "Hey, maybe you should stream it."
Maybe you should stream it. You know, it'd be
Feed
really
the
cool.
beast.
No, the coolest thing I've gotten, that I really like. I wouldn't call it the coolest. One of the things that I got when I got it is like, this is the coolest thing. I got an enchantress equipment piece that makes her have all of her abilities accessible.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Oh, I love it. I got the same one for the scoundrel, and I also got one where she cannot die.
Yep.
And I gave that one to my friend because he didn't have one, and I was like, I already have the one that I would want,
Yeah.
so you can have this one where she doesn't die. But then I started thinking about it today, and I was like, that's probably pretty broken. If you get 2 Unity rings and you have her equip that thing where she never dies and she doesn't take a single hit of damage,
Oh yeah.
I'm willing to bet you could live forever.
Nothing can stop me now.
You could live forever. But I started thinking about that today, but well, I gave it to him. I don't care.
That's your next
Oh.
farming opportunity.
I'll find another one.
Yeah, there's always
Oh.
another one.
There's always another. I love Diablo 3. I love it so much. I guarantee you, as soon as I'm done with the podcast, that's right where I'm going back.
I can't blame you.
And that's pretty much all I've been playing.
And we have talked about all the games I've been playing. So we've been recording for an hour and a half, so I think we'll give all of us, including the listeners at home, a break, and we'll be right back. All right, I need to go get water. I'll be back.
Me too. I need water in the worst way. I will be right back. You guys can look at the teddy. Shoopy-doopy-doo. I'm back. There you go, Teddy. Hey, Ratty. What are you doing, Pepper? What are you doing, Pepper? You sitting in the hammock?
Just us and the teddies.
Yep.
Oh, man. Alright, let's pull up show notes. We have an email this time, and we do not have any tweets. Okay.
I blame Diablo 3 for throwing me off schedule so bad. Ever since I started playing it, it's like every time I'm like, I'm supposed to be playing Final Fantasy 6 right now. Nope.
So did you guys get your Persona Q 3DSs pre-ordered?
Oh, yes.
No.
Oh my gosh. I ran to the store and they didn't even have it in the system. And they were, because I guess I showed up on the first day and they were like, we don't have it in the system, but we can search for it by like this weird code that they had. It wasn't even like a...
Like their GameStop SKU ID or something?
Yeah, it was some SKU ID. And they're like, but we have to find the email that they told us about it because it's not named Persona Q3D. It's named like unknown.
So
because they haven't named it. Why would you put it in the system without its name and just leave it as an unknown? But you have the right...
So I work in the industry, and we deal with a lot of that sales data, and it is confusing.
Why?
There are a lot of reasons why. Primarily, it seems like the I don't think this is an industry secret or anything, but it seems like when it's announced to retailers, it doesn't really have a name yet. It's just like Atlas 3DS upcoming. And then eventually it's like, oh, it's the Persona Q Special Edition 3DS bundled with a copy of Persona Q.
Funny story, it doesn't actually come with the game.
It doesn't.
Well, then never mind.
Yeah,
like what I had to do, because I called the first day and they're like, yeah, no, we don't have it in our system yet. Can't do anything. And I called the second day and they're like, yeah, we still don't have it in our system.
We know what you're talking about, but sorry.
And I'm like, it's on your freaking website. Why can't
they
I
lied?
order it?
They
It's
lied
over.
to you. It's in there.
Yeah.
Because as soon as it was announced on their Twitter or whatever, I went to the GameStop that moment.
Yeah.
I hopped in my Jeep and I drove down there. I was like, hey, I just saw this thing.
Hey,
I need to pre-order.
So I'm not an Amazon Prime member anymore. Or wait, no, this isn't Amazon Prime. This is GameStop. So what I did was I pre-ordered on the website, and then like a week later, I finally found, like, they said, yeah, we have it for pre-order. Just put $50 down. So then I did that and canceled my online order. So
Oh, nice.
that was slightly annoying. But now I don't have to worry about paying $20 shipping to get here within 2 days of it launching. So, because I need a new 3DS bad. Like,
Do you still
my
have
Zelda.
a fat?
Yeah, like I have the. Are they called Fats? The
The
pre-XL
original-
ones.
Yeah.
I have the original Zelda themed one, the
Oh, okay.
black one with the gold trim.
Man, that was a cool looking one.
It is cool looking, but
A little
man,
long in
just,
the tooth.
yeah, it's small and it feels. I don't want to get fanboyish. It feels way inferior to the Vita, and I feel like the larger one with that awesome Persona Q artwork on it will make it feel right to me.
Yeah. Alrighty, you guys ready to wrap this show up?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Excuse me. Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about RPG releases for October 2014. Final Fantasy XIII for the PC on Steam comes out tomorrow on the 7th. Very curious to see how that runs, what that looks like. The PS3 version of that game was very, very pretty. So hopefully it's at least that, if not better. What a weird game.
Well, but like the cutscenes in it, I mean, they were kind of like on Xbox. They were a lesser quality because they had to make them movies instead of actual rendering.
Yeah, and they were compressed really badly, and
well, and it makes me wonder, like, if the reason that happened was because they built the engine so particular to the PS3 system that they're going to have to do that for PC as well.
oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. There's been very little coverage of it so far. It's been really interesting. Over the next couple of months, all 3 Final Fantasy 13s are going to come out on Steam, so which is weird in and of itself. But
Square does it's they only stealth release on PC. I don't get it.
yeah, it's just like, hey, by the way, Final Fantasy 4 is out now. It's like, what? Oh, all right.
Crazy thing I noticed. Sorry to derail us a little bit.
Well, that's okay.
I started reading the Square newsletters I get in, and I didn't realize they did this. They actually pick out indie projects that they aren't necessarily supporting, but they're kind of advertising for.
Yeah, I noticed that in the last newsletter too, where I was like, oh, I didn't know you guys did that.
Yeah, like I got the letter, and then it mentioned some game, like it gave me a list of games that were either in Kickstarter or about to, and that's where I discovered that Moon Hunters game.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, this is a gamble, but $15, I can lose $15. So
Yeah.
I put that in, and then discovered that Joystick had done a news article about it too, and I'm like, well, that's weird timing.
Odd.
But I don't know. Kudos to them.
The next release is Costume Quest 2 for PC, also coming out tomorrow on the 7th. I'm very excited for that. It'd be nice if it would come out on PS4, which I'm hopefully it will at some point. But man, that first Costume Quest was so good, and I think for the entirety of this show, that has been one of our biggest recommendations for a starter RPG. Because that game is funny, its battle engine is simple, but it's skills you can take through to harder and harder RPGs. And the last game coming out this month on the 14th, Borderlands, the pre-sequel for 360, PS3, and PC. I didn't really know much about this game. I've been sort of purposely staying away from it. And I watched a PAX East Claptrap walkthrough the other day, and man, that interface in that game is the same, and I sort of got a cold sweat watching that. I was like, no, not again. But my fiance has it pre-ordered, so I have to pre-order it, and we will hopefully have a lot of fun playing through a co-op like we did in 1 and 2.
Did you not see the Hammerlock and oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his
name? I haven't watched that trailer yet.
You should watch that trailer.
Yeah, I'll watch it after this. I've heard it's really good.
It'll get you pumped up for the pre-sequel. If you were like kind of like, I don't know, because I was kind of I don't know, and then I watched it's like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm all the way in.
I'm in now. Give me the pre-sequel.
Yeah. All right, moving on to news stories.
Torg.
Torg.
Oh.
There we go.
Thank you.
Anything with Torg is gold, so that's understandable.
Pillars of Eternity delayed until 2015. Seems like it's primarily because the game needs a little bit more polish, and they're taking fan feedback into consideration and kind of changing some bits and pieces of the game. They say that they're close, but they're not there yet, and they really respected the feedback they got, and they wanted to integrate that into the game.
Honestly, like, after watching what Wasteland 2 did with their beta and fan feedback and going to the game, like, it sounds like that's what Pillars of Eternity is going to do. From the last letter I read on, what's that Double Fine game that I backed? Massive Chalice. It sounds like they're going to do the same thing. Like, I think it's a great idea, like, doing these longer betas. Yeah, with like a massive amount of fan feedback, and then just squashing everything.
Yeah, just
right
kind of
there.
like putting it back in the oven, letting it bake a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm, as long as it comes out before, say, 2016, I think I'm cool.
Yeah, as long as it's not another year worth of delays, then that'd be okay.
Then I'll start be worrying that I'm not going to get my product. But
Yeah. The only other news story we have this month, because it's been a quiet month for video games in general, is Blizzard canceled Project Titan. So Blizzard's was working for the last 7 years on an MMO that they just called Project Titan. There were virtually no other details about the game other than, yes, we're working on it, and here's the code name. And they canceled it after 7 years. It was delayed in 2013 until 2016. Just outright canceled this last month. And Blizzard gave a really great interview with Polygon, and they just said, look, we had spent all this time and we kept rebooting it, and it just wasn't any fun. And we couldn't figure out how to make it fun, so we're not going to make it. And I think that's a thing Blizzard does a lot, but I think it's something that a lot of us can probably respect, because when they get it right and when they finish a game like that, it's usually, like Diablo 3, it's kind of, it sinks its teeth in really deep.
Yeah. I'm sad because I really want Blizzard to do a new IP. But I'm also, I don't know. I think it's cool that they have enough money that they can make decisions like that and not have us undergo this huge marketing scheme for a game that's not going to be any good.
Yeah. The only thing I really wish is there have been a lot of companies lately that are talking, really deep details about games that they've canceled or games that never really got picked up past the vertical slice development or stuff like that. I really wish Blizzard would come out and at least kind of talk about from a high level what it was, because more RPGs and MMOs could probably steal some of those ideas pretty quickly. And that would be okay. I'm just curious. Like, you have something that starts with the word project. Like, what was it? Ooh. It's like this Skunkworks job where it's like, oh, we're making a secret MMO. And it's like, oh, I want to see that. What was it? I want to play it.
I feel that way about all the games. Like,
that's true.
I want to know why Destiny took 5 years. Like,
yeah, those are all good questions.
They worked on something, so
yeah. All right, that's all the news stories we have. We don't have any tweets, but we have one email from Chris H. He says, "Hey, PUP Party, I, Angel Eye, send you this urgent request to mount Oculus Heart of the Angelic Observation Dominion. I call upon your experience and wisdom with the role-playing game genre." This is a very long email, but we'll sort of take it in chunks here. I was bored at work, if you couldn't tell, so the subject of my thoughts and questions today are Persona 4 The Golden, Persona 3 Portable, and The Witcher 2. Also, the connected theme of relationships in games that really don't matter. Okay. First up is Persona 4 Golden. I just finished this last month, and wow, that was good. I'm drooling for the next installment to come in March, which hopefully it gets released over here pretty quickly after that. So originally when I started, I intended to be rather discriminate when it came to the relationships. All that changed after my hiatus and being demoralized by the Witcher games. Coming back to P4, finally making headway at finding info on Naoto, I ran into the option of bringing fire to my relationship with Yukiko, and feeling promiscuous, I went for it. This was obviously foreshadowed by the multi-persona thing. I mean, what a multi-faced player. How did Atlas know? Finishing the game with the love square of Chie, Yukiko, Naoto, and me. General question for the last few months of the game are not... general question. The last few months of the game are not playable, or did I screw something up? You screwed something up.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. There's a decision that doesn't look like a decision. That if you are a little hot-headed in your decision-making, it skips like the last 4 or 5 months. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
But on the positive end, you may not want to start the game all the way over. I always want to start the game all the way over, but at least you'll get your Demon Compendium. I'm sorry, Persona Compendium.
Yeah.
Thinking the other side of the franchise.
Those other Atlas games.
Yeah. I mean, at least you'll get a lot of your stuff carried over, and your relationships that you have maxed out, they won't be maxed out anymore, but you'll still have access to those top tier demons.
Yeah.
And the stat increases that you have, like your charm and understanding
Yeah,
or whatever,
that
they'll
carries
they'll
over.
be at they'll be at whatever you left it on.
goes-
So that way,
It goes pretty quickly if you can pull out like the strongest persona you have for pretty cheap. You can blow through like the first 3 or 4 dungeons pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. He continues here. Persona 3 Portable. I've just started this, and I think I have about 5 or 6 hours logged so far. There are a few things that disappoint me. To start out, I don't know what I'm doing. There have been an exposition for the shadows and the personas, but why am I exploring this tower? Leaves much to be desired. Hope this is cleared up soon. I think the game does, by the end, clear that up? Yeah. I remember it. Also, Angel Eye in chat says, I haven't fused any personas. You gotta do that. Yeah, when I started, I actually don't blame him, because when I first played Persona 3, that was my first Persona game, I was so attached to my personas that, like, I didn't want to lose, like, oh, but it's Pixie, she's so nice, she heals me all the time. And it's like, okay, no, you gotta get rid of her. Like, this isn't a dog. Like, just fuse it.
You gotta treat them like your weapons in Borderlands and Diablo. Like,
yeah.
Just
break
the
'em down.
second you can get a higher level one, just do it.
Yeah, just trade it out for the new model.
Don't look back.
fusing's a lot of fun too, because you get to carry over abilities that you like from one of them over to your next one. So it becomes a game of, can I get this really awesome ability on this other persona that I want? And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Pixie can't help you later.
Yeah, Magnatech in chat says, this isn't Nocturne, that Pixie can't help you later.
So, fun fact about Nocturne, because I doubt this is normally known knowledge. At the very beginning of the game, you start out with a pixie. And if you keep, like, you can fuse that pixie into other things, but you have to keep that demon in your party.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, you can, I can't remember, there's some question in the side dungeon, the side mega dungeon. You will suddenly get a pixie with, like, these super, super, super high level spells on her. Like all the high level elemental spells and healing
Mina's
stuff.
juggling her tarot deck over there.
Ah, man, mine's on the other side of the room. I can't get them. The first half.
Yeah.
I actually ordered a copy off of eBay like a year or two ago for my Persona cosplay that are much smaller than these. But
what game did those cards come with? I don't remember. Curses.
Yeah.
The one Atlas game I don't get day one. It's all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
So he continues, I don't find the combat in this game or Persona 4 to be a particular strong point, and the fact that I have to do a lot of it for a reason I don't know yet irks me the wrong way. I find in this game the secondary character is a little more talkative / varied than computerized phone system, making the normal classmates a lot more interesting. Finally, the music I'm not a fan of, except for the Triple Brown Cow song, or whatever they're saying, which is now the title of that song. But it's the fact that I think of extra strength chocolate milk that I enjoy it, not that I'm truly fond of it. I'm at the beginning of Block 2. Please, does it get better? I feel like at 5 or 6 hours, most people that are playing Persona 3 are already like shoulders deep into it and kind of in love with the style, and that carries them through the beginning part of the game. If you're don't liking the combat, I don't know. I'm worried that the game won't get much better for you.
If you're not fusing them, I can't imagine it gets better, because half of the fun of the combat is really right there with the fusions. I'm trying to... See, I always play as the female on Persona 3 Portable, so I don't know if the... does the male one get the ability to, like, make weapons and stuff with the jeweler and the...
In Persona 3 Portable he does, but I don't think in the other versions.
Okay, because that is the one that he's playing.
Okay.
So there's that. but
Persona 3 is kind of tough because it's purely battle system, where Persona 4 focused a lot more on varied dungeons and the town and the mystery and all that, where Persona 3 has, I feel like each character goes a little bit deeper, but the town doesn't matter as much. The other S-links are a little more shallow, and the enemy weaknesses and the bosses and Tartarus and all that are front and center.
You have to be super aggressive with Tartarus too, because like near the end of the game, you just have to you can't even search through the dungeons, or you're just going to be wasting like an immense amount of time.
Yeah,
like you just have to just go straight from stair to stair to stair, because you got to increase your dungeon by like 20 or 30 levels.
Yeah,
you know,
it doesn't have fatigue in portable, at least like the other versions. So that makes it a little bit easier.
Fatigue was so frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, I just finished 5 levels. Oh, everybody's exhausted. Well, great.
And if I push them, then everyone's going to be sick tomorrow, and I won't be able to do anything.
Yeah.
Well, they still get sick and stuff in the portable version. It's just really, really hard to get there.
Oh, okay. I thought they took it out completely.
No, it's available, because that's how you get max stats and all of the stuff on the first playthrough is you have to make sure you get sick, so that way you can save scum your sickness, so that way you can keep going to the doctor to get courage buffs for not drinking his or drinking his creepy, disgusting drink.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if after 5 or 6 hours you're not really feeling Persona 3, I try fusing a bunch of stuff, exploit enemy weaknesses a lot more, and that might help with the battle system. If not, I don't know, you might have trouble through the rest of it.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Like,
as much as I love the game.
That dungeon is so aggressive, and if you're not getting into the combat, but you really need to fuse, man. Like that's like a third of the game mechanic.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I think Persona 3, if that's your first SMT or Persona game, I feel like it doesn't help you through fusing very well, because it sort of figures like, oh, you played all these other ones, right? You played Nocturne. It's like, well, no, because Nocturne's too hard. So, yeah, I don't know. He continues here. The Witcher 2. Played a little of The Witcher for Game Club, for TVGP Game Club. Talk about wonky combat. But I was interested in the world, so I started The Witcher 2. This game is phenomenal, eating up 4 of my days off with non-stop play. I've even started again to play the other branch of the story. I do have problems with it. For instance, I feel the story takes away from the fun I was having hunting monsters, which is also impeded by the small boundaries of levels. I wish I could scour the land hunting these pests. Oh, The Witcher 3, I can't wait. The combat is clicky but fun and challenging. Let's just stay away from mouse-murdering hack-and-slash games, however I'll make an exception here. The story is good and the characters are interesting, leaving you with anticipation for the wild hunt. Have any of you played this game yet? Your thoughts? I've been meaning to play Witcher 2. I will skip Witcher 1, because I honestly do not think that I have the time to do that. Especially since I really want to replay Dragon Age to get my save ready for Inquisition. But Witcher 2 seems like it's a lot more in my wheelhouse. I just really haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, I've never played Witcher 2. My intent was to beat Witcher 1 and then play it, but I got so burnt out after getting through Chapter 2. Like, if you read the TVGP Game Club on it, like...
I remember that.
A lot of people give really good advice that I didn't follow, and
I appreciate your honesty, though.
There was that advice that they told you, like, don't try to do all the side quests, and
I gotta do all of these.
You did.
I'm so sick of this game.
And then Chapter 3 started, and I'm at some banquet, and I'm just like, I don't even, and so I stopped. I intend to get back to it because Witcher 3 sounds amazing to me and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I've been told Witcher 2 is one of the best games of all time by several people. And I own it through Steam. I just, haven't got there yet.
Yeah. How about you?
Someday.
I own both of them, and I want to say they may have collectively together 2 hours.
Oh, Witcher games. You're very intimidating.
I'm sorry.
Hey, you got Diablo 3 to play.
I know.
Plenty more set pieces.
Which one?
I don't know why they're
willing...
tuning in. This is the Diablo Warframe podcast.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And now Destiny.
I think it was the second one that I went through more of. There was like some sort of battle going on, and the dude was talking to your main character was talking to some redhead, and I don't even remember. There was some
the
sort of
witch
fight
lady?
breaking out.
Yeah.
Maybe. Was that the second one, do you think, or is that
It might
the
be the
first
first one.
She's in both of them.
Dang. I'll never know which one I started.
Gotta play them
Well,
again.